right, protect yourself at all times. We are on it. Ron Futrell, latest Vegas Sportscast for you for this Saturday. And, boy, a lot has happened since last we spoke, but let's jump into it right here, right now. Vegas Golden Knights, tremendous season, remarkable season, ended with 4 straight losses in the Stanley Cup Final to the Washington Capitals. Not happy about that, but, boy, when you look back at everything they've accomplished this season, it has been absolutely phenomenal. And the Capitals, man, it was just overpowering, strong. They played faster. They're not fast skaters, but they played fast, and a big hockey team. So it'll be interesting to see if that's the prototype of the future. People were talking about the Knights being the team of the future as for fast skating, playing fast, and that sort of stuff without the physical nature. But physical was what the Capitals were, and that was enough to win 4 straight. Now, you could argue that everything's close. Knights hit a lot of, not just hit the post, but they inside of post many times, and it cost them. It hurt them, and it's been fun to cover this team this year. They had their exit interviews yesterday. You could go to the Vegas Sportscast website, and also best go to the Twitter page, at Vegas Sportscast, and you'll see some of the interviews that I did, or my Twitter page, at ronfutrell.com, and you can see the interviews that I did with many of the players on Friday for their exit interviews. Some were a little bit emotional, some were a little tough. They were all, they all felt bad they had lost in the final, but at the same time, they realized this was an expansion team and nobody expected them to do anything. In fact, most folks had them picked dead last in the NHL this year. So there you have it. And they end up winning the Western Conference, winning, first of all, Pacific Division, Western Conference. They swept the Kings in the playoffs, beat the Sharks in the playoffs, beat Winnipeg in the playoffs, and then make it to the final and fall to the Washington Capitals 4-1. So there you have it. Oh, and all the talk of all the people making all the money on the 500-1 and 200-1 sports bets. Guess I didn't quite pay off. Looked good for a while, didn't it? Fun story, but didn't quite pay off in the end. So good luck to the Knights next year. Okay, next year, let's talk a little bit about that. Let's look at what they've got here. They've got 4 guys that are unrestricted free agents, meaning they can go anywhere they want. They are, as of July 1st, they are no longer the property of the Knights. They are free agents. They can go anywhere. George McPhee, the general manager, said, yes, there will be some changes in the offseason with this team. Okay, so it won't be the same locker room. There'll be some, no surprise. There should be. There will be. There always are changes. So what will the changes be? James Neal is an unrestricted free agent. David Perron, unrestricted free agent, as is a couple of defensemen, Ryan Reeves and Lucas Pisa. Unrestricted free agents that can go wherever they want and see if somebody will pick them up, or if the Knights might decide to keep them back here. And I've heard both ways. I've heard all over the place. I've heard in talking with other media people. Now, nobody at the team will tell you anything, but talking with media people trying to speculate, oh, no way he's going to be here. Oh, he's gone for sure. Oh, they have to keep him. Oh, they can't lose him. So nobody really knows, and it is all over the place right now on where people might go, what might happen. One interesting aspect is that of William Karlsson. He's a restricted free agent, meaning that if somebody offers him a bunch of money, the Knights, all they have to do is match the money, and he stays the property of the Knights. Somebody he scored 43 goals. He was the number 3 scorer in the NHL this year. Number 3 in the NHL. Alex Ovechkin was number 1. But William Karlsson went from 6 goals the season before last at Columbus to having a breakout year with the Knights with the 43 goals. So I think they got to keep him. I think they got to roll the Brinks truck up to his place and keep him. What that means, it's $3-4 million a year, something like that, long-term deal. Marc-Andre Fleury is $5.5 million a year. He's got 1 more year left on his contract. The Knights will want to keep him. Guys that they have already kept for next year, let's see, they're locked up. Fleury, Braden McNabb, Derek England, Jonathan Marchessault, Let's see, is Nate Schmidt. I believe Nate Schmidt is as well. And Nate Schmidt, there you go. Let's talk about a breakout year. That's just been a great year. I'm going to do a podcast. I'm going to go over the website. I've got a great website that breaks down where everybody is and where their salaries are. And I think I'll just do a podcast on that, my next one, so that you have details on what, just educate yourself a little bit, myself, a little bit more on what the possibilities are for the Knights. The good news is for the Knights, they have plenty of room under the salary cap. The salary cap's about $110 million, and they're $30 million under the salary cap, so they have space. They have room. They also have a lot of draft picks. They're in great shape there. In fact, many more than they need. And what they will probably do with those draft picks is use them to get other players. They used them to get Thomas Tatar. They used the draft picks to get Ryan Reeves right before the trade deadline. So they're going to take and bargain with those draft picks. There's going to be teams that want them, teams that want to get rid of players, teams that want to get rid of salaries, all sorts of things. So it gets complicated in this era of the salary cap, where you got to try to figure out exactly what you're going to do and who's going to get paid what. And right now, a premier NHL player is a $5 million a year player. When I say premier, there are 20 or 30 of those in the league. And I'll get the exact numbers at some point and break it all down and see who the other free agents are and who the Knights might go after. Might they go after somebody big to bring onto the team? One thing that made the Knights work is they did not have the superstar player, Marc-Andre Fleury. But let's go with the skaters. They didn't have the superstar player that was the Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews, Alex Ovechkin. That were those guys, okay? That are your franchise players. Just a bunch of good players. I think you're better served that way in the NHL because of the nature of the sport. I think you are better served with just a bunch of gritty, good players that are happy making good money instead of somebody with a big contract that's expected to score a ton of goals and do what they do. Now, Connor McDavid is great. Obviously, fastest skater in the league, best young scorer, and a lot that he can do there. So, that being said, he's Edmonton's for the next 9 years. So that's not an option. It's just I'm using him as an example. What's interesting too is a lot of the guys in the minor leagues had very good seasons past season, with the Chicago Wolves or with junior hockey or in Sweden and different places where they were playing. Had some very good players this year. Haig, top defenseman in Canada, played this past year. So they've got, I like Keegan Colasar, obviously Cody Glass. They got their number one draft pick from last year, Suzuki, and there's just a number of great players, young players that they have. And George McPhee, the general manager, likes building a team from the bottom up, which is crazy to say that because this team was built immediately and did so well and surpassed all the expectations this year. But he's a believer in the farm system, put it that way. And baseball and hockey have farm systems that they use to develop their talent. Football and basketball, not so much. But you can build a great team by using your farm clubs, teams you got in juniors where you're sending players, teams you got in other parts of the world that you got players. In particular, the number one farm team for the Vegas Golden Knights are the Chicago Wolves. So you can have those teams out there and have the young players out there doing what they do. And the Knights are in pretty good shape there. So that should sort of scare the rest of the league, I think. Wait a second. This team is not only went to the Stanley Cup final this year in their first year, but they've got room in the salary cap and plenty of draft picks and a lot of great young talent. So that's a good position for this Knights team to be in for the future. Oh, the NHL released, and you can see this on the website, TheVegasSportscast.com. They released their rankings for next season already. Is this too early? I guess not. Not too early. They did it. Okay, so the rankings, and the Knights are in the number 5 spot for next season. They got Tampa Bay at number 1. Capitals, I think, were number 4. But the Vegas Golden Knights picked at the start of last season at the very bottom of the NHL. Now pick number 5. Okay, there you go. sort of crazy. But we're about 115 days away from the start of next hockey season. So mark it off on the calendar and get it going. See what happens. NBA Finals. Oh, good riddance. They're done. Sweep by the Golden State Warriors. Oakland Warriors, I prefer to call them. Soon to be San Francisco Warriors, if you will. I don't like them taking the name of the state of California, by the way. That's my aversion to the Golden State Warriors. So the Oakland Warriors sweep Cleveland Cavaliers. This series was over when J.R. Smith did not call timeout, did not put the ball back up, didn't know the score of the game. In Game 1, they had their one shot, they had their one chance. Did the Cleveland Cavaliers to at least make a statement in this series and maybe even win Game 1. But not to be, and I think at that point the team just said, okay, we had our shot, had a good shot, and yes, I cannot overstate how important that one thing was. You know the situation, right? Player at the foul line, tie score. He's got one free throw, 107-107, one free throw for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Misses the free throw, comes off the back of the iron, and goes up high. J.R. Smith gets the rebound and had a pretty much clear lane to the basket. Could have gone up, right back up with it, or passed it. 4 seconds left. Could have done some different things with it. But a tie score, they had the ball with the last shot and a close shot. And he instead ran the ball out towards half court like he was running out the clock. And the classic photo of LeBron James looking at him with his hands up going like, well, what are you doing? What's going on here? Okay. And then after that, they went to overtime and Golden State blew them out in overtime. And the Cavs hadn't seen anything close to competitive since then. Since that happened, it was all Golden State. In the overtime period, then they covered the spread in Game 2, they covered the spread in Game 3, and they blew them out last night, 108-85 in Game 4 to sweep the series. So there you have it. NBA, 4 years in a row, same teams in the finals. Let's switch that up, okay, guys? However you do it. Where does LeBron go now? L.A. or Philadelphia are the two thoughts of where he may go. Play for the Lakers, play for the Philadelphia 76ers, or stay in Cleveland, or who knows what else. But he's an unrestricted free agent now. So that will be interesting to see what happens with LeBron James. And could the Lakers use? Yeah, yes. Lakers haven't made the playoffs 5 years in a row. So they need something down there, and they're just the type of team. Kevin Durant, also unrestricted free agent from the Oakland Warriors. So see where he goes. Okay, Triple Crown today. Belmont Stakes, Justified, going for trying to win the Triple Crown. He's already won the first two legs and going for number 3 today. And that's about it. Baseball. We got baseball going on here. In town, we have Las Vegas Lights Soccer. We've got the Aces WNBA basketball team. I think they're 1-6 right now. The 51s are playing out their final season at Cashman Field, moving to the new stadium being built up in Summerlin. So, fun things happening in sports right now, and we'll do these on a more regular basis. All right, make some stuff happen. Thanks for listening. Spread the word, the Vegas Sportscast. Quick, easy way to find out what's going on in the world of sports here in Vegas. But that's the way I see it. I'm Ron Futrell. Thanks for listening. Bye for now, everybody.